champion in the house tonight. Move your body from left to right. To all you kids, don't stop the rock. Let's be stuck to the name of why.
Campaign 15-0 with 10 knockouts. The undefeated WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Brian El Boxy Castaño.
Oh my God, I love olive oil. I cook with that shit all the time. I made some chicken with olive oil last night. Shit is fucking good, man.
First, we invite to the scale the defending champion in his second defense of his title. He'll be making his Showtime debut, the undefeated WBA Super Welterweight Champion of the World, Brian.
He got some tighty whities on.
Castaño.
He up there with some briefs on.
154 pounds for the champion, right at the limit of 154 pounds.
Lonzo Ball.
Brian Castaño.
I don't care if they polo or not, bro. You got some tighty whities on.
Challenger in his 8th consecutive world title appearance. Please welcome the former Super Welterweight Champion of the world, Eddis Lundy, the American Dream, Lara.
Castaño's got that Thanos.
153.5 pounds, 153.5 pounds for the challenger and former world champion Eddis Lundy, Lara.
No, that's probably why I don't get no credentials, man. We be talking, y'all talk about people too damn much. Y'all the reason why I don't get into no fight. Y'all be baiting me into this shit. That man does not have Thanos' chin. No, I'm not looking. Fuck you. I'm not looking. I know one thing, with a chin like that, he better not never get knocked out.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action scheduled for the WBA Super Welterweight Championship of the World. Brian Castaño, champion. Challenger, Eddis Lundy, the American Dream, Lara.
Get ready to enter the ring. DraftKings and Showtime Boxing have partnered to bring you closer to the action than ever before. Introducing the Showtime Boxing Pick'em game. Now, for every 2019 Showtime Championship Boxing event, you can come out swinging. Each fight card is the opportunity to duke it out for your share of $5,000, a Showtime Boxing swag bag, plus compete season-long for a shot at winning a trip to every 2020 Showtime Championship Boxing
I'm going to win, y'all.
Here's how to play. First, pick your fighter. Select who you think has the best shot to win in each match. Then decide on the outcome. Will it be a knockout, or will the decision be left up to the judges?
You know my predictions be fucked up, though.
Which round the fight will end, or if it goes the distance. All selections must be made before you can advance to the main event, which is worth double the points. Do this for each of the Showtime Boxing fight cards and get ready to rack up the points. They are awarded based on how many selections you got right. So join Showtime Boxing and take down the competition to win your share of $5,000 and play all season for a shot at tickets to every 2020 Showtime Championship Boxing event.
And we're back here with Paulie Malignaggi and Steve Farhood. I'm Mauro Ranallo, and I can't wait, guys. A more formidable tag team than the Hart Foundation or the British Bulldogs. It is DraftKings and Showtime Boxing teaming up, and man, oh man. So beginning tomorrow night, fans, and this is free, by the way, you can go to DraftKings.com/Showtime and enter to win up to a part of $5,000 in winnings. The 5 finalists tomorrow will get a Showtime Boxing prize pack. The #1 pick at the end of the year, the overall leader, he gets 2 tickets to every Showtime Championship Boxing event in 2020. So, guys, lots to be looking forward to. Now, of course, we can play, but I don't think we're going to. Are you going to play?
Well, I don't know, but we're going to be at the events anyway.
Right, and of course, Steve, you got to pick the winner, you got to pick the method of victory, and you got to pick the round.
And the beauty of this, Mo, is that everybody thinks they're a boxing expert. So what this will do is debunk that myth, because nobody gets them all right. That's why they fight the fights.
When it comes to predicting, nobody was really an expert.
No.
All right, well, we are going to at least analyze what is coming your way Saturday night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. It is Showtime Championship Boxing with a triple header from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And in the main event, Erislandy Lara, fresh off the 2018 Fight of the Year against Jarrett Hurd, a fight that, well, was disputed, but it was Hurd who was the victor. And for Erislandy Lara, guys, a case can be made that he should be undefeated. One of the worst robberies in boxing history when he lost to Paul Williams in 2011, lost a disputed decision to Canelo Alvarez, according to some people. And, of course, Jarrett Hurd, you had Lara winning by 1 point on your unofficial scorecard. That was then.
Where did Morrow get that hair from?
35 years of age, coming off a long layoff, and welcoming Brian Castano, an undefeated secondary titleist, to the big stage.
It's a fascinating matchup, and all the spotlight is on Lara, because for a long time he was dominant, fighting a certain style. With the exception of that fight with Alfredo Angulo, he never got into any brawls. He never engaged that much, because he's such a brilliant boxer, one of the greatest boxers, I think, of his generation. Now, with Hurd, who's a much bigger guy, he had to brawl, and he ended up losing his titles. Is that the new Erislandy Lara? Or is he going back to his old ways against a shorter fighter in Castano? That, to me, is the...
I wonder if Lara is broken, though. You know, like Alfredo Angulo showed, you know, that if you get to him, you know, and you pressure him enough, you can get to him. Now, Lara, once again, he ended up breaking his face. Paulie got the curse. I feel bad for him. He lost his hair. We're brothers.
Or at least we're able to be good enough in applying pressure. It may not be good enough overall, but maybe good enough in applying pressure to force him to fight this way. The question I have here is it going to be Castano who's good enough to apply the pressure, or maybe is it also a little bit of Lara maybe fading with the legs a little bit with the age, and obviously so
let me record Max on boxing
fights, obviously, but you know, so age
Thanks
catches up to us all, and if this is the new Erislandy Lara, I think he's still going to be enjoyable to watch, but is he going to be able to hold off a guy with the young enthusiasm of Brian Castano?
Yeah, and Steve Castano, 15-0, 11 knockouts, proven to be a road warrior. Last 2 victories, the 2 biggest wins of his career, taking place in France against a fellow the southpaw like Lara, Cedric Vitou, and then Michel Soro before that. Talk about his best path to victory against the crafty Cuban.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. He's got to apply pressure. You saw at the weigh-in when they stare down. They're about the same height. That's a big difference from Lara fighting Jarrett Hurd, who was so much bigger. Hurd, one of the biggest junior middleweights in the world. So he's got to press him, and he's got to hope that Lara's legs, as Paulie suggested, may be the case.
I think so too. I'm wondering about Lara's legs. He's not moving like he used to. You know, maybe he corrected that in this camp because, you know, Jarrett Swift Hurd just was walking him down, walking through that shit. But in regards to Castano, you know, he is a bit slow in regards to hand speed. But however, he's got some very, very credible fights, you know, amateur against Sergey Derevyanchenko and a win over Errol Spence. Footage that I would love to see. We watched some tape on him yesterday after the final press conference, and you know, it just looks like he's gonna get Cuban schooled. Unless he's a fighter where he's gonna literally go out there and he's gotta bring the pressure. He's gotta bum rush him. That's it. He gotta bum rush him. You go out there try to box Lara, he gonna jab and straight left hand you. What other punches do Lara throw? You know? He's going to have to go out there, you know, and we got to see if Lara is broken. Is he broken? Did Jarrett Swift Hurd take his soul? Does he own it? You know, John Molina took Matisse's soul. He still got, well, you know, Matisse won that fight. But whatever. He definitely got Ruslan Provodnikov's soul. He got his soul. Yeah, he'll throw a hook every now and then, yeah. But no body shots. No, he will, no. I don't never see, when do Lara ever throw body shots? You know? Is Lara legs going? This is a good point, though. Let's listen to this part right here.
taking place in France against a fellow the Southpaw like Lara, Cedric V2, and then Michel Soro before that. Talk about his best path to victory against the crafty Cuban.
Pressure, pressure, pressure. He's got to apply pressure. You saw at the weigh-in when they stared down. They're about the same height. That's a big difference from Lara fighting Jared Hurd, who was so much bigger. Hurd, one of the biggest junior middleweights in the world. So he's got to press him, and he's got to hope that Lara's legs, as Paulie suggested may be the case, aren't what they once were. But with that said, V2 and Soro, they're not Erislandy Lara. This is a very big step up for Brian Castano. And he beat Errol Spence in the amateurs. We know he's got some really good amateur pedigree, but he's got to prove it at the pro level.
And Paulie, this is his coming out party. Castano from Argentina wants to prove he belongs at the elite level. And again, we talk about 154 pounds. There are potential fights with Jared Hurd that could be made. Of course, Tony Harrison. We have other champions, of course, because of politics that potentially will not be made. But Castano wants to prove he is one of the men at 154 pounds to contend with, and he's looking for his first major name here against Lara.
Yeah, and you know, this is obviously an important big step up for him, you know, but he's also not the kind of guy who's coming from complete obscurity. Soro and V2 may not be world class, so to speak, but they're very, very good fighters, and they're probably just a step below world class. And so having wins against them on the road, I think already starts to prepare you for this next step up. Now, is it enough to beat Lara? We'll find out tomorrow night. That's why we're going to watch these fights and we're going to work these fights. But at the end of the day, he's a guy who's coming in, showing himself to be dangerous coming into this fight, and not just coming in from total obscurity.
Yeah, hardcore fans, of course, will appreciate the slick southpaw talents of Erislandy Lara. The casual fans are hoping that we see a repeat of the fight against Jared Hurd, and of course Alfredo Angulo, when Lara was knocked down twice but came back to win. Now, when you look at Angulo and Jared Hurd, and now Brian Castano, similarities and then the big differences, Steve.
Well, the similarities, they both applied pressure against Lara. The difference, Alfredo Angulo, tough as hell, and a good puncher. It's a slow fighter, very slow. Hurd just kind of forced.
And Castano seems a little bit slow from the footage that I've seen, you know? Even if you go back and watch the V2 and Soro fights, they're available online.
Lara fight because he's so big, and Hurd walks in the first half of a fight. Hurd literally walks through your punches and keeps applying pressure. The other factor is age. When Angulo fought Lara, Lara was a much younger man. When Hurd fought him, he was a little older. A lot of amateur fights. You know, I don't know. I mean, Lara at his best is a brilliant boxer, and it's sort of interesting that he's had the career that he's had, where he's had so many fights where he's been masterful and just outclassed his opponents, and then 2 brawls that were both, you know, fights of the year. In the case of Hurd, the fight of the year. It's quite a arching reputation he has for what kind of fights he makes.
So, you know, you've noticed that he does have like that, you know, that issue with pressure fighters. You know, from the Canelo fight, you know, he just didn't, the punch variety wasn't, the punch variety was what really did him dirty. All those jabs, you know, that's what really did him dirty. Where Canelo, you know, and this was a very young Canelo, you know, he just was walking him down, and he was, you know, being the ring general. Where Erislandy Lara was literally just moving, you know, circling around the ring, jab, left hand, ha, 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 ha. And every time you throw that left hand, you hear, ha, you know. Castano has a really good chance to beat Lara tomorrow. Now, I was at Lara's fight before the Hurd fight. I was at the Terrell Goucher fight. Let me tell you, fans were pissed. They were walking out of that shit. Because it's like, yo, Lara is one of those fighters where you know he can finish a fighter off, but he don't go for it. Therefore, fans get pissed. And it's like, bro, we here all night. What the fuck? I think the blueprint to beat Lara is out there, too. You got to pressure him. And then he's so predictable. Yes, don't get me wrong. It's easier said than done, obviously. We not no motherfucking boxers. At least I'm not. You know, that left hand ain't no joke. But look at Swift Hurd. He literally walked through it. Look what happened later on in the fight where Erislandy Lara started slowing down against Alfredo Angulo. Alfredo Angulo at that time was still considered a dangerous fighter, even though he's slow as shit. That Alfredo Angulo ain't been the same since then, but still. You know, he ain't been the same since Canelo. That's the blueprint to beat Fred. Yeah, I'll just beat the shit out of him with the gloves off. He's a fucking, don't ever mention his name on my channel again, or I'm going to just block you. Like, I was advised to leave it alone by people that are close to me, and that's why I ain't been saying shit about it. All right? But trust me, the damage is already done. He's finished. I'm not even going to say it. Y'all peep it. See you next time you see Fred at another fight. Anyway, moving on. I don't know. I think Lara is done. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna say that he's done. That mystique of that Cuban school, like people don't fear Lara no more. You know, people like, yeah, I'll fight him. People not who ducking Lara. Do you hear about people like, no, Lara? People not ducking Lara anymore. You know, he's not ducking Lara. I mean, people not like saying like, oh, well, Lara this and that. I'm wondering what happens if he wins, you know, because it seems as though, you know, the Tony Harrison Charlo fight is going to happen. I think so. Let's go look at the division. Let's go look at the division. Jared Swift Hurd is fighting Julian Jig Rock Williams. I believe they said the date is March the 12th down in Maryland. Obviously, Brian Castano is fighting Erislandy Lara for that WBA World. Tony Harrison will likely be fighting Jamel Charlo. Remember, Sergio Garcia had that fight against Sam Akington. Maybe we can see Lara go that route, you know, if he wins. Or Castaño. You know, so here's the players right now at 154, the current players at 154. You can't really count Salusky because he's fighting at 160 right now. He's been campaigning there, even though he's ranked at 154. Erickson Lubin, he's on the path back. Austin Trout is still floating around out there, but we don't want to see Lara versus Austin Trout again, but I wouldn't mind seeing Castano versus Austin Trout. Jeff Horn is at 160. Who they say Jeff Horn's supposed to be fighting? Rob Brandt. They're trying to work on that. Cheeseman. It was Cheeseman, not Eggington. Cheeseman. My bad. Right, cheese and eggs. Why do I get the motherfuckers mixed up? Who else? I'm talking about names, you know. Dennis Hogan, he is the WBO mandatory. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be happening with him and Jaime Munguia. But they're saying that they're working on Munguia versus Jesse Vargas at 154. Can you imagine that? What, that Mexican guy that's 6'7"? He's still a prospect. He's not at that level yet. I forgot his name. He fought last weekend. I forgot his name. Damn. T-Street, please don't go hard, brother. I got book bags. Let me live. What are you talking about? Oh, hey, somebody put that guy on timeout. Oh, shit. That's not the real guy. Hey, put that guy on timeout. You guys are some son of a bitches. You know, they put that guy on timeout. You guys, man, y'all make me sick. What were we talking about? Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the one. I mean, see, Lara. I mean, we don't know what Kell Brook's going to do. You know, maybe we can see Kell Brook versus Sergio Garcia. I don't see Kell Brook fighting at Erislandy Lara. What if he do, though? What if he do?